As we get into those conversations this morning, he's been traveling around the world and he's come back with yet another accolade behind his name. Dr. George Wajackoyah is the leader of the Roots Party and he's here with us this morning. First of all, welcome back to Nairobi.
Thank you.
Good morning. How are you doing?
A little bit of headache because of change of climate in flying zones.
Yeah.
But I'm okay.
You're okay?
Is it cold the other side?
No. If you look at Phoenix, it's 100 plus. Then you look at Florida, gone probably to 70.
100 plus, like degrees?
Yeah, it's
so Fahrenheit.
Oh, okay, Fahrenheit. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Then London is a little bit changed, so the air zone, the traveling zones have probably affected my body temperature, but my brain is still intact.
This is always a good thing. So thank you for being here this morning. Obviously, we're going to be looking at a number of things, and it's good because you've just come back with a PhD in tow. So to be able to open up some of these conversations, that philosophical and academic advantage is always a good thing. So karibu sana.
Asante.
While you were away, Dennis went to Senegal.
And that's why I was thinking that he has transformed himself, though I know him, into him, because he's a key figure. Yeah. I love his personality, his appearance, and the diminishing look. He looks at you as a wise man.
Well,
yeah, but you are.
But I am wise.
You are almost there. I can see.
Yeah, you see, we're almost wearing same colors. You see,
yeah, because
great minds.
Definitely.
Great minds.
There's that communication in spiritualism.
Wow. Okay.
Yes.
So I've just come back from Senegal myself, and I've come back with a proverb. And without wasting any more time, I want to go straight to it to get your interpretation. So the proverb today is: "Water has no head." Water has no head.
And wind has no soul.
Oh, wow. There goes another addition. Wind has no soul.
Yes.
That can be a good combination. Water has no head. Wind has no soul. How would you interpret that?
Yeah, because you can only listen to the sound when the wind is blowing. It's telling you that there's a message being communicated through that speed. Mm-hmm. Yes.
Like the scriptures say, you can't tell where the wind is coming from and where it's going. You only feel it.
Yes, but mankind can now tell where it's coming from.
With technology.
Technology, that's what I meant by mankind.
Wow. Incredible.
Indeed. It is. So how long have you been away?
20 days.
20 days.
Yes.
But that notwithstanding, even while you've been away, obviously you've been abreast of the issues that have been carrying on in the country, and you've kept your finger on the pulse in terms of those happenings. We're having a conversation today because there seems to be a lot of push and pull between what constitutionalism requires and demands, and then also the face in country. Controversy and policy is what we're talking about today. Provocation and whether it works in African politics. We wanted to just start from looking at, do we have a different kind of politics just because we are on the African continent, first of all? And then, of course, we're using local examples to explain what we're talking about today. Do we have a different kind of politics by virtue of the fact that we're on the African continent?
To respond to that, and before I respond to it again, I would like to take this opportunity to thank the universe for having made me go through the journey that I started 6.5 years ago, plus COVID in. And I'm grateful to my law school, my wife, my children, and my teachers for having achieved a second archilogue, which is one of the highest, which has been recognized by Congress. My doctorate has been recognized by Congress and archived in the Congressional Library for reference when Congress is making laws on immigration. I was told that if I was to be Nigerian, the Nigerian government could have celebrated me for having put it on the world map of academia. And I'm also grateful to Nairobi University that when I was pursuing my doctorate, I was also pursuing my postgrad at Nairobi University, which I also went through. With that having been said, the issue of policy, of which now I'm an expert on law and public policy, having looked into areas of immigration, policy is intertwined into two ways. There is the borrowed policy, which is copied and pasted. There is the event policy, which happens aftermath, after an earthquake. That's when measures are taken to contain what has happened. And there is the sustainable policy, which is advanced in terms of in eventualities. In case there is any likelihood of anything happening, this is what we are going to do. And Israel is number one in that. That's why when there is a gong or a bell to alert the environment or the people within that environment that there's a likelihood of an attack. But when it comes to our country today, we don't have policies. We have miniatures which are done to advance a course we call primitive course. Somebody's called in, somebody's asked what can we do, and the monetary value overrides pertinent issues. So with the happening in the country today, it's all coupled because the country did not have a proper policy. Now, if you look at the African continent, and if you come to the African continent, you'll find out that the military has played a leading role in reshaping the mindset of dictators, the mindsets of the Western big spoon, the Western-oriented puppets who had been introduced, and then because of the commingling of socialism and capitalism and the Cold War, the aftermath of the Cold War, you find out that there was an outbreak of a mindset which did not collaborate, the mindset of people to sit down and try to look into what ought to be for the country in terms of sustainable thinking. Therefore, Kenya does not operate on a policy that is earmarked on sustainability. That's why you see development projects, when they come in, they're politicized. And whoever inherits what the other one has been doing comes up and says, no, we are not going to start again. And policy issue is something that you have to look into.
If policy was followed by governments that, succeeded one another, would we then see that there would be a continuation of some of those things being done, as opposed to every new administration trying to start its own thing? I mean, I just look very clear at the Big Four agenda that was under the Uhuru Kenyatta administration, and then no sooner than, there are elements of it that continue with, universal health coverage, and health being one of them, as well as the housing project, which was affordable housing for all, which was under the Big Four agenda. We see some of that continuing. But are you saying that if policy was front and center of an administration, that you would see a continuance in next governments?
Yes, but then the problem is, how was that policy formulated in the first place? Was it equitable formulation, or was it a political formulation? Let me give an example of housing agenda. If you look at other countries, Ghana in particular, because its policy has worked on housing, Ghana adopted the equitable framework, where it empowered its people by telling them that, if you want to build a house of your choice. But here is the money, here are the banks, and here is the subsidies going by this, which promoted people's welfare, which also encapsulated people's traditions. You can't just come in and say, because I went to London for the first time, and I met the Minister for Housing in London, and I went around and saw estates. So I want to be like London overnight. Those people had their own, the politics of London has their own dynamics. So you'll find that somebody has gone to England for the first time, and somebody was born in Sugoi, raised in Sugoi, and I'm not saying Ruto, raised in Sugoi, went to Sugoi Primary School, Sugoi High School, Sugoi University. Then came to Nairobi for the first time and learned how to walk across the road. Then again came and interacted with different metropolitan culture. And then the person went into parliament and went outside for the first time on benchmarking. I'm going abroad, like in those days of the former leaders who used to carry the whole tribe on the plane. When you reach there, then you are walked around the corridors. Then you say, tunataka iwe namna hiyo. Unakuja, unasema, waziri, nataka nyumba ziwe kama ile. Come on. Is that policy sustainable? I'm talking of equitable policy framework on housing. Give people the mandate to choose. Let them have an informed choice. I want a house. I want to build a house of this particular tradition. And what do? Let me go to the bank. Can the government give me some kind of subsidy on this? What about income portfolio? The ratio of income. How much do I get? What can I do? Can I have my debt overridden by certain circumstances? What is my contribution to the national benefits, national social security? What is the peg line?
And even as we look at some of these things with the current dispensation, and when we talk about policy, which again, many nations grounded on this, and we can see that the progression that they then take after that is, it's worth even giving examples about and saying this is the way in which things would go. Right now, there seem to be so many things that would counter a policy or that would then come into competition with it and with what we have on the ground at the moment, whereby we hear from the president on very many an occasion that, we are trying to get our work done, which would suggest that there is a policy that is trying to be followed. But then we have all of this interruption. We have all this controversy that comes to kind of play and, bloody the water or stir up the water. So how do you create a balance between that which may come against governance, which is trying to enact a policy, and what may be seen as the other side in protest to poor governance, like we see in Kenya today?
Why didn't we have these things happening during Kibaki's time? Why didn't we have these controversies during Kibaki's time? Look at this headline. I'm glad it's here. This one, which talks about the big con. What's the problem? I may start this as an example. This man, Lagat, has told a lie to the people of Kenya. And I'm not saying it because I hate him. I'm looking at it the way it is here. On top of that, during this man's reign, we have realized that Nairobi, which has got 63 police stations, out of 63, 20 police stations are manned by people of his tribe, Kalenjins. Kalenjin officer in charge of a police station. Does it mean that out of 43 tribes or 44 tribes in this country, we don't have police officers from these other tribes who can also be given a chance equitably?
Can it not be mere coincidence?
Well, I'm coming to that.
Okay.
Secondly, you'll also find that out of the short reign of this man, the entire traffic police in Busia County, the entire traffic police officers on leave and not on leave have been removed. Does it mean, what measures did he take? Because he's in charge of the police, since it's the DIG in charge of regular police, not administration police. Does it mean that he's doing that to to benefit in corruption? Now, as if that's not enough, you go to the Kenya Airport Police Authority. I'm talking as a former police officer, and I'm talking to police officers not to shoot people today, because police officers are very good people. And this shoot and then shoot to kill or shoot to maim policy, has it not come? And now this con, I call him a con man, this con has come up to say, or to contradict himself by saying that he never resigned. What kind of
never stepped aside? Yes.
Now, what kind of policy do we have? What does the Constitution say? So if that is what is now bringing controversy at this particular time, with this one example, then what kind of policy is that? This is tribal kind of manianistic agitation response where people are rioting and people are saying no. There's been a lot of killings also, not under Kanja, because Kanja was on leave when some of these demonstrations were taking place. Kanja had not actually been appointed as Inspector General of Police. He was still undergoing vetting. Mm-hmm. You find these people, especially this man, and I hate to tell him this because of the fact that he comes from Sugoi, he comes from Eldoret, he has to be put there for the kids to be shot, for people to be killed. You think we are happy with that? What kind of policy is that?
Is it a policy issue? Is it impunity? Is it governance?
Now, that's a very good question. For us from the policy industry, we shall say that is political impunity agitated in a kind of policy to make somebody be in power forever. Does it mean that we don't have another Kenyan who can be appointed? We have people who are very good like Seda, the county commander. We have people like, we have police officers who have PhDs. We have police officers who are career police officers who have done a good job even during Kenyatta's time, during even Kibaki's time. But why should this man now be there to become a thorn in the flesh of Kenyans? Can somebody tell me that? Or am I the one who is very stupid today?
Is that happening because of where he's from?
Yes.
Or the character or the character of this man? Is it because of where he's from? Can we really make the distinction?
Yes, because he has...
Prof, and say because of the fact that he is from the same place as the president, that is why we see this behavior?
No, it's not that way. It is because of his actions. It is because he has made Nairobi to be a tribal base for him. And that's why we need a policy now to countercheck that before a police officer or police officer is transferred to a station, let's look at equitable balance of other regions. Because it's not only Kalenjins who live in Nairobi. We have other tribes that live here that have also sons and daughters who are police officers. So that is tribal because my president is from my area. He has appointed me, let me do as it is. Do you have a committee that he reported or National Police Service Commission? Did it sanction that? Maybe if that is what it is that their policy? That questions Kenyans are looking for. The reality is here. It's not far. I'm not being political. But I'm looking at it the way it is. Does it mean that the ratio of Kalenjin police officers in this country is higher than Kikuyus or Luos? Or how many are they to warrant this kind of thing? Are they being appointed because of merit? Or are they being appointed because of tribe? Because this man is there. Why has he sacked the entire traffic police in Busia County?
Why did that happen? Has he? Yeah, I guess that's a...
For what purpose? So that he can replace them with these henchmen, that he can conduit traffic flow of money to his pockets? And the controversy that happened recently, if it was an advanced nation, or if he had the conscience, he could have stepped aside and then said, I'm sorry. But if he lied, come on, who will trust the police? Yet I'm telling them today, look, I'm your colleague. I was a police constable. I've risen within the ranks. I've gone to school. You can do like I do. Please don't shoot. Because when you shoot, like what the president is telling you, that shoot in the leg, and the minister in charge of internal security is also telling you that shoot when you see them near a police station. And then we have, both of them are Kalenjins, and we have another Kalenjin. That means it is premeditated, it is arranged, and it's within their political quacking policy.
Is it possible to look at these issues without a tribal lens? You are a former police officer. During your time, was that a factor? Did you notice during your time when you're around the other officers, there's a tribal element in terms of appointments, in terms
Definitely.
of those who are getting into the police service?
Definitely. But it was not as big as it is. Like, for example, I was the first OCS of Kasarani police station at a very young age. And I thank President Moi for that because he had seen very far. Moi never interfered a lot with the police. Secondly, I was peer to Kanyotu, the former director of Special Branch. And he took me because of what I was, because of what I was capable of disseminating. And if you look at the formation in the entire country during that particular time, there was equity distribution in terms of performance and skills, not tribe.
But in all fairness, if you look at DIG Lagat, without this whole drama and what's going on currently, there is sure some merit rising through the ranks to where he is today. You could argue there is merit. It's not favoritism.
That's true.
So that's why I'm asking, is it then possible for us then to look at issues and personalities beyond the tribal lens?
Let us recall his file. I can only answer that the question, being an expert in that area of law, if, again, his files are recalled.
Okay.
So that you can look at it. Did he get these promotions by doing evil, manifesting and doing evil? Or did he get these promotions on merit? If you got them on merit, then what is he doing? Is this what made him to be promoted rapidly so that he could actually be an achiever of tribal card within the police service?
But what will be the sacrifice? I'm just trying to think. Well, as it is constitutionally, the police service is independent. The president has said he will not interfere. It's independent. Although there are statements here and there, even from the interior years, that will contradict that statement. But then if you're to look at the service as it is, and you look at the executive as it is in terms of now interference and all the issues that have, come out, the order, shoot to kill order, the shoot to maim and all that, why would you sacrifice a legacy? Why would you sacrifice yourself to keep holding someone like DIG Lagat in office with all these issues notwithstanding? How does it make sense?
Come again.
I'm asking, why would the executive, for example, because you have connected the dots and you say there's a reason why he's there, why would anyone then keep a person like DIG Lagat in office with all these issues notwithstanding? Because there's a lot at stake by keeping him with all these things that are coming out now. Why still?
If he's being kept at a person's pocket, that's fine. But if he's being kept at taxpayers' expense, whose expectations and legitimate expectation is higher, and whose service performance is looked into in terms of nationalistic, Kenyans are looking at you. We are paying you to be there for us. You are destroying our soul. You are destroying our heart and soul. Then there is that issue. But if he's being kept there to suppress, then definitely let him be there. Because if it's the only way that the president can keep this man there so that he can achieve his legacy, so that he can come out with statements of shoot to kill, so that the Minister for Internal Security can come out and tell the nation, tell the police that even if they come near the police station, shoot to kill, with the backing of this kind, with the Kalenjin community being the majority, so let it be.
And so, when we continue with this conversation this hour and we get down to the nitty gritty, so many of the things that are happening, and I mean, we go into later conversations, but sure. And one must ask the question that when you have policy, it's clear that you stand on it. What the state has been saying most recently, and we've heard it from the president, is that you are actually provoking the arms of government. You are provoking the police. You are provoking the administration to want to do a certain thing by the things that you do. Is protest provocation? And how then do you deal with it in where, as you say, the policy is weak?
Protests are covered in the Constitution. So whenever they are being done, they are done in accordance with the law. But if you are in power, and I remember when I was teaching constitutional law in the United States on First Amendment rights, freedoms, and the 14th Amendment tenets, where a government or administrative official interferes with speech, free speech, which could either be artistic speech, terms of expression, you go and draw a leader that you don't like or whose policies you don't like, and you put a meme on him with horns and what have you, artistic expression of speech. Nobody can come in, no one can come in to restrain you from that speech. What Ruto is doing is he's putting advanced fear, future threat, which is not actionable under the law of thought. He's actually restraining speech. That's what you call restraint of speech. If you look at the Supreme Court decisions, particularly in the United States, you'll find out that the courts have taken libertarian freedoms and have applied very high tests, whereby if the United States president ever interfered with the fundamental freedoms in terms of expressing futuristic threats, then that becomes a restraint of speech. But what Ruto is doing it in a dictatorial fashion. A dictator will always try to surround himself with ego, very egoistic and very unbelieving and very unsettled wherever he is. And that's why he has the audacity of telling parents to keep their children at home. Otherwise, kama hamtaki kuambia watoto wenyu wataumia. Those kind of threats are the ones that ignite fire among the younger generations.
That will then be seen as provocation?
Yes, because it's provoking. Instead of doing what ought to be done, he is provoking these kids to go back. It's like if you come and tell somebody, like I come in and say, why are you always stealing my stuff? Or why are you always being unfaithful? You are my wife, but you are unfaithful. And you yourself know that you are not being unfaithful. I'm just trying to do this to tame you so that other men will not look at you. Trust me, if you get a chance, you'll be more unfaithful than what it is. So Ruto is planning these problems himself, coming in with threats to threaten people like us, so that we can now go and stay in kind of arrested and retarded mindset that we don't do. That will not work. But he has a chance to do things, to improve things, if at all he wants to.
Well, he has said these events are organized. And to just quote him, why me? There were other presidents before me. These things never happened, even in their first term. So, according to President William Ruto, he believes that these things are being planned by detractors and by people who are out to make sure that his development agenda does not go through. So that there is reason then to say you did not perform and therefore one term.
He has been lying. Ruto has lied throughout. He has made promises that he has not fulfilled. And if you promise a child a banana and you don't deliver a banana to that child and you keep on promising him that banana every day, the child will resent. It's his own mouth, his own actions that have made into these reactions. But however, having said so, there are also people who have taken advantage. There are people who have taken advantage of that so that they could achieve what they want to. Because some people see him as a person who is actually interfering with their ways. I cannot rule that out. There are those who I'm sure that have also come out to oppose him and to take advantage of his own failures. There are people who might be fomenting threats, because we saw during the Gen Z, the first Gen Z, everything was okay. But now we have seen Gen Z being hijacked by some of these opposition leaders to condemn Ruto. That one, I don't stand with that. There's these leaders now who have come in and they have coined a message to condemn Ruto so that they can be seen to be the other alternative. What they are not telling us is what they are going to do after Ruto's replacement. They are not telling us that we are going to do this. They are just coming up in cocoon, in a chorus, by saying the name Ruto in the morning, Ruto breakfast time, tea time, lunch time, afternoon, night, Ruto must go. one term. But if you look at those who are saying it, they are not telling us what they did when they were in power. So they have also no moral authority to come in and interfere with the Gen Z revolution. Some of those fellows were very bad. If you look at some of them who are ministers for those particular times, there are people who died. This is the River Yala issue, where people are drowned. Nobody has been able to account for that. And that's why maybe this time I'm trying to agree with Gachagua, though we are not friends, though we made a truce. Gachagua is still at least telling people what Matiang'i would have been telling people. Even if Gachagua is lying, he's at least saying that I was told to do this, and this is what was happening. Fair enough. Now, if you look at these other leaders, they are not coming up to say that I was a minister for defense, or minister for water, or minister for housing. This is what we are doing. They are covering that and camouflaging and taking the whole toll on Ruto. That one, they are wrong also.
Yet in that whole conversation, because it is what we are seeing and what we're witnessing with the political class, some will call legacy politicians, is the case where when I was in government, this is what was happening. Now, this is, like you're saying, this is being said outside when somebody has just left, or they were told to resign, or they were kicked out of office. This is the time they're speaking these things. They never spoke when they were inside. And to still circle back to the conversation around communities and tribe, these are conversations that are actually happening at that level, devoid of all the issues that have been raised by the young people from last year. The issues that have been raised, issues of taxes, issues of accountability, good governance, issues of impunity, dealing with all these things. But at the top level, we're not having those conversations about governance. The conversations are, my community is being targeted. Let's protect our own. On this other side, it is, let's galvanize together as tribal blocks against this one man. And so when you look at both sides, that seems to be the driving theme, that, look, we need to put our house in order. It is us versus them. On this other side, it is us versus them, around the tribal lines. And you spoke earlier about, the community and everything. Has then that seemed to be the driving force around politics in this country? And we're forgetting there's a generation that is rising that is not tribal at all. They're issue-based.
I think I'm happy that I've raised that issue. If you look at these groups, the Gachagua-led group, the Raila-led group, and the Ruto-led group, all these people need to go to open way. Let us, even let me step aside and give room to the issue-based mindset to set an agenda for this country. I say this with conviction by giving an example of the military coups in West Africa. Coup after coup after coup, and tribalism has been killed in countries like Burkina Faso, where people are tired. And the young soldiers came up and they said, enough is enough. We shall now take over and run this country. And that's why you see the GDP for Burkina Faso today is the highest. It's becoming the highest, and Burkina Faso has become the fourth most developing nation in the world according to the World Bank Index. In this country, you'll find out that these people have been there for ages. I remember, and I can attest to the fact that at your age, how many times have you been told that you are the leader of tomorrow? It's the same people, it's the same mindset that is actually reinventing itself. And when they see that they're not gaining what their interests are, they run back to the tribal cocoon. Somebody goes to steal lots of money from the government, and when he's arrested, he runs back to his tribe and say, our tribe is being done this. That's why I want to get rid of that if I'm given an opportunity. And that's why I would like to step down if there's a agency who will do better than myself, or if we can work together as a team. That's what is killing this country. But Ruto can steal if he wants to, because there's still a chance. He can come out and get people, sit down with them, lay the foundation for 1 year, even if it means some kind of mild dictatorship, and set the house straight. Now you can see Gachagua has come up with the tribal card. He's always talking of we Kikuyus. Yeah. Wherever he goes, the house of Mumbi. The constitution allows him, if he wants to. He can go and hold a referendum and have a Kikuyu republic. If that's what they want. You can see Raila, on the other side, has got his own people. The Luos are saying, if there's no Baba, there's no country. They can as well do the same. The only question I'm asking myself is, why are the Kalenjins very quiet, apart from Ruto? Why are the Luyas fighting among themselves? So to remove all that, probably we shall need a military coup.
Is that what you're advocating for?
Yeah.
Is that a solution to the problems
if it is for the betterment of this country, why not?
But we don't have very good examples of military coups taking over a country.
My friends, if you look at America, which is about how many years old, there have been coups after coups after coups until everything was made good. If you look at Burkina Faso, it's an example. If you look at South Africa, whatever happened, there was militants that came in to remove agitators of democracy. If you look at Russia, I mean, let's call a spade and move ahead. This country needs total liberation from where we are today.
But if
it's not by the so-called elections where there is no universal suffrage in that election, where a tribe with the majority will always lead, then what about the smallest tribe in this country? When will they? If at all you have to go tribal. Let's change and have electoral system, college system like in America, where everybody can feel secure.
But Prof, you can't say we have a military coup.
No,
surely.
I have a freedom of expression.
I totally agree. You have
and
that freedom.
I can say what is better if it's to the best interest of any developing country. So I know many people will have to say, "Oh, we mutu amefanya." So what?
But do you think we've run out of options?
Yes.
You think we've run out of options?
Well, we are running out of options.
So
whereby if the head of state can come up and say, you can now shoot them in the leg.
Well, let me ask you this then, that if there would be a turnaround and where issue-based politics then ruled the roost, and that governance then took on the embodiment of saying, let's deal with the issues. Because, I mean, take your pick today. Just this morning, are we not seeing the Auditor General has been running helter-skelter over the last couple of weeks? If it's not education and the money that's been stolen, if it's not finding ghost schools or whatnot, if it's not that e-citizen 116 billion shillings in 2 years cannot be accounted for, if we don't know where money for this goes and the PS Treasury has to be asked questions, these are issues, and these form the base of the issues that people have been going to the streets to ask for accountability over. But what I hear you saying is that if Kenya had governance that was issue-based governance and wanted to deal on issues of accountability and transparency and proper management, if the president today were to say, you know what, guys, let's turn this ship around, do you think then that he's able to deal with those things on an issue-based level?
We shall work with him. If he does that today, we shall sit down and then we shall put things down and involve the Gen Zs. That's why in my government, I want to have a special ministry run by Gen Zs, the Ministry of Gen Zs, so that they can actually look at everything that happens in my government and hold whoever they suspect to have stolen government money accountable. If Ruto today came up and said, I'm totally putting this upside down and I want people to come in and work with me, we shall work as a team, if it's issue-based. But if it is issue of being told, like the sackings that are happening every day, that, let me give you the ministry and the money so that you can join me, we are not there. He can still change. He can still do it. He has the room. He's still young, and he can do even better. He had the energy to transform this country into what we want the country to be. But look at look at what he has taken. Look at him and his children also. Look at what... Did you ever see Kibaki's children buying buses and doing what have you? No. There are certain things that he has to do at the moment so that he can restore public confidence within this nation.
Let's look at independent institutions. You say in your government you will have a ministry of Gen Zs that will then oversight and look into what other ministries are doing, call out those who are corrupt. if you were to run Kenya today, what will be your top 3 agendas? What will you do different if given that opportunity today?
The first thing is I will be a dictator. Second, you ask for 3 things, I'll again be a dictator. And the third, I'll again be a dictator, an economic dictator. I want things to be done in the open. I want things to be done in the full view of the people that I'm ruling. I want everybody to be accountable. If it comes to building infrastructure, I want to be involved to see where the road is going and when is it going to be finished.
So there's hope from what you're saying.
Yes.
You said previously that if everybody were to step aside and somebody who came in, then with these issue-based governance that we're talking about now, then everybody could actually step aside and let the ball go.
Yes. Kenya is greater than some of us. If you can get somebody who can come in and say, this is the agenda I have, this is how you're going, and disagreeable, why not give that person a chance?
Do you believe dialogue is a chance?
Yes.
Raila has called for dialogue.
No, that one I don't agree with.
Why?
Thank God you have asked. I am not going to agree with that the dialogue because I don't know what it entails. We have had a lot of dialogues.
Well, this one is intergenerational.
Yes. Who let it be proposed by Gen Zs, but not Raila or any other politician. Let it come from them willingly, notoriously, publicly. Let them come with the agenda and tell the nation this is our agenda. But let's not have one of us to come up and say when NADCO report was not done, when Ndung report was not done, and what have you. Now, if it comes now, how long are we going to take? Where are we going to have the budget, the money from? What about the time consumption? Who are those Gen Zs that are going to be involved? Who is going to appoint them? Let it come from them, not from Raila. Raila is my personal friend. I speak with him. He's Baba. Baba will always be Baba. But on this one, I disagree with him.
You think his time is up?
There's nothing like time's up. Yeah, age doesn't matter in leadership. We have Trump.
In terms of his influence, not age. In terms of...
No, Raila will always be Raila. And the issue of age does not matter. You can even have a small kid like that one in Mbale who is running for Mbale municipality seat, a little boy who has come up and is taking Mbale by storm in the current elections. So when it comes to issues of proposals, let it be equitable. If Raila is proposing something, let him propose, before he proposes, let him call Kalonzo, Wajackoyah, maybe he has called the other ones, have not been called, other stakeholders, and we sit down, and then he'll come up and say, this is what I want to propose. What do you guys feel like? Then we shall say, no, let us do this. But you can't come up and say, we propose this again. Ningesema Kijaluo Makiluya. This one nimekataa. Baba will always be my friend, but on this one, Baba, wherever you are, you never consulted me, so I'm not going to agree unless you tell me exactly what you meant by this enclave stuff. Conclave. Yeah, please.
Right. I mean, look, it's the rumblings of conversations that are happening around the country. Thank you for joining us this morning, just to be able to hear different thoughts and then to say what then contributes towards this discourse. If anything is clear, that something must be done and that there must be conversations onto action for these policies that we started this conversation around. Thank you so much, George Wajackoyah, for joining us. Get back on top of the weather after having been around the world for a while.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
This is the Situation Room, the only way to start your day.